but here we are again. We're good.
The point is that we support what you want, and while we can never be a trade organization or a union, we will get all the information that we get out to you. And again, ask, and you will hear.
Another question, I'm not sure I understand this, but how about a BBB style approach of collecting grievances and turning them into a public rating system for producers and facilities? This Hall of Shame approach could warn artists and punish bad behavior.
Well, that's actually sort of what we're looking at now. A Better Business Bureau approach is something that is kind of what is on the table for our facilities working group. And the facilities working group, let's look at some of the issues that they might be looking at. Their scope might entail, we don't know yet if it will be fully all of this, whether or not all facilities worldwide should figure out a way to adhere to all applicable intellectual property laws, all applicable labor laws, all applicable health and safety laws. What are their best practices? All these kinds of issues, how do they support the artists who work there? These are the kinds of things that, let's take a step back. These are issues that are vitally important to everyone, everywhere. But as a part of a certification process that VES is now trying to define, think about the daunting task, and those are the two words that we kept hearing, daunting task, that we know there are over 5,000 companies around the world.
And I am not daunted by this.
That 5,000 companies that work in visual effects. And if you can imagine that if all 5,000 of those pretty much are in the sweet spot between, let's say, 10 and 100 employees, I shouldn't say all 5, let's say 4,000 of them are, the ability to go in and actually take a look at their computer systems, their applicability to all the local labor laws and healthcare laws is truly something that I would say might be a daunting task. But Mr. Oken, I think, has some philosophy to share.
I think, though, that what the questioner is proposing raises a really interesting point, and something that is also part of my agenda is that, if the VES were to do this, there might be legal implications. If you as an individual were to do it, there are no legal implications. I mean, remember, we do what we can, but actually you have to do it. Everybody likes to sit back and say, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. The internet is free. You can make movies and distribute them on there. You can, make your own future. There's no reason why this idea, which I think is a great idea, couldn't be informally started. I would love, there's one company in Los Angeles that I happen to know an awful lot about in terms of abuse. I would love if those employees started posting somewhere so that others can't be lured into this company's traps and see the company asphyxiate on its own reputation.
But to that point, the working group on facilities is going to come up with a white paper that may in fact recommend that some kind of letter system that if a facility is adhering to all these things, they get an A. But if one isn't, doing any of those things, they get a D or an F, some version of that.
But these are two approaches to the same thing.
Exactly.
And one is formalized, and one could go right now.
And so it's up to.
That's a great idea, by the way.
It's a way for us all to take on the responsibility to look at what's happening in our industry. So we're trying to figure this thing out when in fact none of this has been defined previously.
This is for me, Eric, not you. I just think that was a good idea.
So Jeff's putting his check marks there.
That's a star.
Jeff's a star under any circumstances.
No, that's a star on the BBB.
I know.
Go ahead.
That was humor for the moment.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bob.
Another question, can you tell us about the VES forum that just launched and how best to use it?
Well, first, I'd like to say we're extraordinarily pleased with the initial reaction. Close to 400 people have signed up in the last 24 hours. So by just that marker, it's an instantaneous success. We want to see that grow. Right now, it's only open to VES members. We're doing that because one, we are a membership-driven organization, but number two, it's still in beta. And so we want to keep testing it out and cleaning things up as we move forward. We expect in the next few weeks we will in fact open it up to the larger world, to the entire visual effects community. And how it will work is that it'll be, I think that's one of two kinds of questions. Logistically, how do you get on it and work it? The other is, what will it actually do? If you're not a current VES member, you don't have access to it, and we ask for you to just bear with us. In the next few weeks, you'll get access to it.
Maybe.
I have three more questions. They're starting to come in a little faster. So this first question, in many cases it seems a problem is that we are our worst enemy when it comes to bidding. Doesn't it seem that as an artist or facility, a fair price often means losing the project? If you get the project, then you have accepted a lower price and can't afford extras such as healthcare. Have you looked into any standard VFX pricing issues?
No, and you can never do that. But we can do this. The studios are a giant global industry. Each one is a conglomerate. And the issue isn't that the studios are driving you down. The interest is that we tend to slice each other's throats in a drive to the bottom. Part of the issue with that results out of this fact that when you're young, you're immortal, and as you get older and you have a family and you have insurance needs and so on and so forth, that you cannot, as a young person, and you have the rest of time, and it's okay to live off of pizza, and you don't have family or colleges, it's okay to work at those rates, and you do it, and you can't blame them because we all did it, but you do it to get your foot in the door so that you can get onto the bigger jobs. The problem is that once you set that bar, it's hard to raise the bar again. So as you or your company mature through your life, you find that you're less willing or able to work at these prices, and then the wincing and moaning becomes louder and louder until you're at the end of the cycle and you may drop off the end. What needs to happen, and again, I can't think of a better way to do it right now, is this education, is getting information out. And the idea is, well, it's illegal, and we certainly would never suggest anything against the collusion laws, but people need to find a way to operate within the system at a profit, and currently we're not doing that.
Next question. Do studios ever call the VES to express their concern about the reliability of specific visual effects facilities or techniques, either on a specific project level or over a period of years? And perhaps a bigger question, how often do the studios or film producers contact the VES with questions about the visual effects industry?
Seems to me the studios don't contact us on the first piece of that question. They're not going to ask our opinion on a particular artist or facility, because that's what they do. That's their thing, and they're not going to be looking for our input. But separately, they're in touch with us all the time. We see each other at events. We sit together in the same panels, and they're always asking us, about our ability to take the temperature of the industry. And so we're always swapping notes and sharing war stories from what we hear. So that's something that is ongoing and continues. I want to point out we've got, I think, only about 3 or 4 minutes left. So
we can extend if we need to. And something that you left out of there, Eric, that's really important, is we ask for meetings with the studios, and they take them. And we have a lot of one-on-ones with not just the visual effects departments, but production departments, post-production departments, bond companies, and et cetera, et cetera. So we're constantly out there looking for their temperature, for what their problems are and how we might help that's a benefit to our members. And we express our issues with them, and it's called a dialogue.
And want to just put out there, I think we probably have time for one more question, but
unless we extend,
that at the end of the day, we're stepping up to try to make something happen. We will be in touch with you. We've got a couple of working groups working on all these issues and looking at them. But I want to remind everybody, We received hundreds and hundreds of emails with concerns raised on every conceivable issue that any artist might face. And what our working groups' efforts are going to wind up being will not be as comprehensive as to be able to look at every single issue that's come up. We're going to try to find the things that are doable. We're going to try to find the things that have the most support. And we will be in touch with you as we move forward over these next weeks and months. Do we have any other questions, Bob?
No.
So there you go.
Everybody is very good on time. So in closing, I want to drive home my own personal agenda that I claimed I never had. I want to hear from you. I prefer that it be positive things, but I'm open for a lot of negative things. And my email address is my name, Jeff Oken at AOL.com, JEFFOKUN. Don't hesitate. I won't out you if it's something that you don't want, people to know that you said. But it's vitally important that we hear from you so that we know what you want, how we might go about it, more great ideas like this bulletin board with the star on it. And, it's also good for me as the chair of the society to be able to guide the board to let them know that we're on the right track or we're not on the right track. So.
And if you've got comments overall, feel free to share them at leadership@visualeffectssociety.com. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
And we'll do more of these. They're going to become regular. So if you have interests in specific things, don't hesitate to put them forth. And with that, we bid you a fond farewell for today.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.